Welcome to the Principles of Success. My name is Nathan, and this is Season 1, Episode 16. And today we are going to talk about asking and receiving, the law of attraction, and more. So today, I want to start off with asking you shall receive. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. That is a great verse. In fact, that kind of phrase is throughout the Book of Mormon and the Bible, and I'm sure other scriptures as well. And in self-development, there's also something that they call the law of attraction. And they're basically the same thing. And it's having that vision, and by having a vision of something, you drastically increase your odds of achieving what you want out of life. A great quote is, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. When you figure out what you want with your life, what you're going after you go through all of that hard stuff, eventually life seems to just give in and give you what you want. I like how Les Brown talks about it, and he goes, if you just keep knocking at that door and you don't want to be bothered, at first, if they just knock a little bit, you're like, oh, they'll go away. But if you keep on knocking, eventually the person behind that door is going to throw open the door and say, what do you want? And same thing with life. If you keep going, eventually life will be like, you know what? This person really, really wants it. Let's just give it to them and go bug somebody else. And in scriptural or gospel terms, I think Heavenly Father wants us to prove how much we actually want something. He wants us to put in the work. He wants us to take the actions necessary to get it. A great parable of this is in a flood, somebody's sitting on the roof with the floods slowly going up, and then a boat drives up to come grab them. And they say, hey, you need a ride? And the person on the roof goes, no, God will help me. So that person leaves. And then a few hours pass, the water slowly keeps rising, and then another boat comes. And they go, hey, do you need a ride? And the person's like, no, I'll be fine, God will help me. And then they leave. And then the next boat comes, same thing. And then the water eventually gets to the point where it's above the roof and the person drowns. And they end up in heaven and they go, why didn't you help me? And God looks at the person and he says, I sent you 3 boats. So it is important to take the actions and not just sit there believing that God or the universe or life will just give it to you. You have to be willing to chase after those goals. There's a reason why it's ask and you shall receive, not patiently wait and you shall receive. Make sure that you go after what you want. Make sure that you have that vision of what you want so you even know what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, then it's a lot harder to achieve that. Like, what do you want in a significant other? What do you want money-wise? What do you want health-wise? What do you want? What are your goals? And then when you know what you want, how are you lining up your life so that way the law of attraction will bring it to you? Because how I like to interpret the law of attraction is life is a magnet and you're a magnet. And if you're after something, you need to point your magnetic pull in the direction that's necessary so that way your magnetic pull pulls the magnet of life to you so that way you can achieve it. But that is still an action. That was a terrible analogy. It requires ornating, forgetting the word. I think it's ornating. I think I'm pronouncing it terribly, but basically lining your life up with what you want. Because you can have anything you want in life, virtually anything you want in life. You just can't have everything. You can set your life up so that way you have the highest chance of getting what you want, but that comes at the cost of other things. Like I personally, I'm living in Oklahoma, in Utah, and I hate the desert. I do not like it. I said I would never move to Utah, but I want a good LDS girl. So, and the best chance for that is in Utah. So that's why I'm here. Because I can make money anywhere. So I decided to make it here and pursue going after a girl. Not any specific girl, but a girl. I do have specific requirements that I'm looking for a girl because I have a vision of what I want my wife to be like. But it is not so arbitrarily specific that no girl like that exists. And it is, I say that, but you can also get super specific if you want. What I do is I have a preference list and I have a deal breaker list. So you might say that you want somebody with blonde hair, for example. If they don't have blonde hair, is that a deal breaker or is that just something you would prefer? So when people ask what you're looking for, instead of giving them the long list of preferences, give them what's most important to you. What's the deal breakers? Because that list is generally a lot shorter and a lot less specific. However, it is a deal breaker for me if they don't have at least some of my preferences. I don't remember where I was going with that. So when you have a vision like that, you can then actively seek what you're after, and you can rule out things that aren't going to be beneficial towards your vision in life. You can go, nope, that person doesn't match with what I'm after, so you can, instead of guessing, you can move on and not waste any time, because time is precious. And when you're asking for life to give you what you want, sometimes you have to think outside the box. See what's not seen. Make sure that you can get what you want even if it doesn't actually exist at this moment. Another great quote I like is, if the successful, if they don't see the world that they want, they go and create it. If you have a specific house design, your dream home, but it doesn't exist anywhere, you can create it. But you have to be able to see what's not real yet, because that's where planning comes in. Or even blueprints. You have to design it before it exists. You have to design your life before your ideal life can exist. Because if you just go through life happenstancely, I'm messing up words today, you can only get what life throws at you. But if you figure out what you want, prepare for it, and then chase after it, eventually an opportunity will pop up and you can seize on it. Because I think I'm going to talk about luck a little bit later in the year, but luck is essentially where preparedness and opportunity meet. That's where luck is, or at least good luck. And it is better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. Because if the opportunity comes up and you're not prepared for it, that opportunity might as well never existed, and you might never ever get that opportunity again. So always be preparing for that vision, for the opportunities that come into your life. And then I just want to talk about writing things down again, because your brain forgets way too easy. If you have an idea, write it down immediately, because if you don't write it down, you're going to forget about it. And those ideas, one good idea can be invaluable. One good idea is every single invention that's in existence. Somebody had the idea, they pursued the idea, and they achieved the idea and brought something that didn't exist before into reality. For instance, most of the technology that is in a combustible engine existed for millennia. It just was never compiled together in a specific format to create the engine that now powers our cars and makes traveling around the world a whole lot faster. Because back in horse and buggy days, or even horse and wagon days, traveling 10 miles was a big ordeal. It was a full day's journey. Now you can travel across the United States in 2 days. So pursue your vision. Make sure that you take the actions for it. Make sure that you write down your goals. Make sure that you seek. Make sure that you ask. Make sure that you ask people. Asking people for opportunities is a great way of creating opportunities. If you need to meet somebody, ask anybody who might even have the remote possibility of knowing that person. Even ask people that you don't really think would have opportunities for you. Ask them. And just keep asking, because eventually you'll get lucky. Keep pursuing it, and eventually life will give in. Keep working on your goals. Keep striving for that vision. Keep maintaining that hope, and I will see you all next week.